WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. Four Roses, small batch, limited edition 2024 release. Yay! I have one of the 700 milliliter bottles, so I own there's only 6,000 of those worldwide with 54.1% ABV. Whiskybase 262933. So I paid 229 euros for this. The recommended retail price in America is $220. It went up another $20. Is that realistic? Well, at the moment, with the bourbon markets the way they are, I'm going to say yes. Yes, it is. So in America, in the 750 milliliter bottles, you have 16,680. Maybe I can show this. Maybe it might work this time. Let's see here. Gonna go in real slow. And we have here, will it focus? There it does. We have the 6,000. We have 4,385. Every single bottle is hand numbered. So there were basically 24,000 bottles of these. Someone's actually bottled here and or labeled them all with a nice little marker. That's very, very kind. It's a nice little tiny sign of appreciation here from us that you do that for us. Thank you. This was released on the 14th of September 2024. The middle of October it was in Europe, at least in the Netherlands, where I bought my bottle, and that's very good. There's a guy online. Sometimes I really like some of his stuff he writes. It's called The Bourbon Guy. Now, the Bourbon Guy actually wrote about this, and he was at one of the release, I'm going to call it he got a release sample here. He was at the release party. He talked with the master distiller, Brent Elliott, and there's some information that was given from Brent Elliott here at this media meetup. And first of all, he has on his website, the only place I could find it, percentages. I don't know if the percentage is 100% true. On the official website from Four Roses, no mention of the percentages, but Bourbon Guy does mention it. He says in this bottle there is 39% of the 16-year-old OESF. He says of the 12-year-old OBSV, there's 23%. Of the 15-year-old OESK, I just made a mistake. So there's 31% of the 12-year-old OBSV and 23% of the 15-year-old OESK. And there's only 7%, which makes sense, of the 20-year-old OBSV. Now, if you're not familiar with Four Roses' style of doing their mash bills, you basically have two letters that always stay the same. The first one and the third one. They never change. So the second letter is OB or OE. OB is their high rye mash bill with 30% rye, 35% rye, and E is their lower rye mash bill with still 20%. I know distilleries that say high rye with 20%, and Four Roses just laughs and goes, well, that's our low rye. High rye is 35%. They have 5 different yeast strains. Has to do with the different distilleries that back then belonged to Seagram's and then MGP and now Four Roses. They took over and carried this torch further. So they have the V yeast, which gives a delicate fruit moment. They have the K yeast strain, which gives a slight spiciness. They have the O, which is rich, fruity. They have the Q, which we don't see here, the floral essence. And they have the F, which gives the herbal notes. Going back here, so we do have a F, a V, and a K. So if we go here, the F, the herbal notes, the V, the delicate fruit, and the K. Now, Brent Elliott himself actually says that this OBSF, the 16-year-old 39% of this whiskey, doesn't really have that typical F moment going on there. It doesn't have that herbal notes because after a certain time, 12, 14 years, the cask takes over. And so you get a nice little mouthfeel, but you really don't get that herbal note. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the 2023 edition here, which was the 135th anniversary, but I do have the 2022 edition, and I have the 2021 edition. So these are samples that I kept. I'm sorry, I did not keep a sample of last year's version. I shared it all. Some people say there are hunters and gatherers, and there's hunters and sharers like me. So every time I buy a bottle, I do a bottle share with it. And I allow people in Germany here to buy these samples and share products that they might never have gotten their hands on. And I think this is one of the bottles that people tend to say, yes, sample the whole bottle for 229 euros. That's a lot of skin in the game. All right, so 2024, 2022, 2021. Now, to be very honest, the 2021 is a little bit of an oddball. I've never liked it. All right, so we have here 12 to 16-year-old whiskey. We have a 16-year-old OBSV. We have a 14-year-old OBSQ, the only time I've ever seen a Q here in a small batch edition, and a 12-year-old OESK, as well as a 16-year-old OESV. Now, over here in our 2022 version, so we have 14 to 20-year-old whiskey. So, the 14-year-old bourbon was OESF. The other 14 was OESV. The 15-year-old OESK. And the 20-year-old, just like this, is the OBSV. All right, so on the nose, I really, really enjoyed this nose. This nose is an A. Oh, that's good. A little bit of fruitiness, a little bit of herbal spiciness, a little bit of pecan, perfectly complex, layered, well done. The 2022, I have a little bit more of nougat. I wanted to say chocolate, but we have that nougat moment, a little bit of that nutty, chocolatey moment going on here compared to this. And the 2021, more wood, surprisingly, even though it's the younger whiskeys. Now, there was one little statement that I found, I'm going to use the word amusing, with the 2024, is that they actually took all the barrels here from the lower 3 rows of the warehouses. Is that important? Well, first of all, you can't forget that the maturation warehouses are 1 story, not 6-story behemoths like Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, and all the rest have. And they actually took all the barrels here from the lower rows of those single story warehouses. All right, let's try. Cheers. Love the nose. So on the nose, I should be getting creamy vanilla, honey, and brown sugar. And on the palate, it should be followed by ripe berries and tangy citrus. Don't really get the citrus. This is a little hot, but so good. After we get over the heat at the beginning, So I've already tasted all 3 of these in my German video, all right? So this heat. Would I be willing to pay $220 for this again? I'm not sure. Now, I have actually shared and tasted the following nice little products here from Four Roses. So I have, wait a second. I have had the, I just want to go back here to my, so the 2024 small batch limited edition 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, and I've actually had the 2016 and the 2014. 8 different limited edition small batch Four Roses releases I've tried so far in my life. I've done videos at least in German to all of them, and I've shared all of them. So 8 different versions so far. That is not bad, if I may say so. And sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're great, sometimes they're a little funky. They do change from year to year more than I would actually expect. But that's just part of the game, I guess. All right. So the 2022 version, I actually like better than the 2024. Cheers. The alcohol is so finely and perfectly integrated into the whiskey. It just gives you a wonderful, wonderful aftertaste. This is this is the masterpiece for me. I forgot what the 2023 was like. Did I love it? Did I not like it? I do remember really liking the 2022, and I remember not liking the 21 and really liking the 2020. So no heat. This has heat. This does not. The 2021 version of the small batch series with 57.1%. A lot more wood. It's a little funky. It's a little different. Maybe it's that F. No, it's not the F. It's the Q, the floral moment going on here. Who knows? That's my least favorite of all of these. This is still a B+ whiskey, don't get me wrong. The 2022 today is a solid A, and the 2024 is a solid B, A-. Nose is an A, but it's just got the heat. A little bit of the heat still there, a little bit of an astringency, a little bit more of the oak, but it has fruitiness, it has spiciness, it has the nuttiness. This is a great bottle. So imagine we're in November of 2025 next year, and the new small batch limited edition hits the market. So actually I looked at my prices. For the 2019, I think it was 180, then it went to 190, then it went to 199, then it went to 200, then it went to 220, and now we're at 230. I expect it to go 240, 250 next year. I'm sorry. All the bottles are going to be bought up almost instantaneously over here in Europe for anyone. They don't even sell it for 250 or 229. Most of the shops in Germany are 250, 260, 270. The only place you can really get a good price at the moment is the Netherlands with their prices of 224, 227, 229. So those are okay. You're paying 220 in the States. Why not have to pay 229 over here in Europe? That's just fine. Is it a splurge? Is it an indulgence? Yes. Will I do it again? Yes. Will I continue to go online on whiskey auction sites and try to find Four Roses limited edition under 180 euros? Definitely. And will I share those bottles with friends and see what happens and put them in a tasting? Of course. Because Four Roses is a really, really fantastic distillery for their limited editions and for their older whiskeys. Where else can you get 20-plus-year-old whiskey in a bottle like this? Brent Elliott, thank you very much for all that you've done there. Thank you very much for year assembling and actually allowing these bottles to, these barrels to be bottled and actually giving us some whiskey that is mind-boggling good. So, A-. A. B+. Still great. Value for money, it's a C++. Why do I say that? There are some of us out there like me, we're just going to buy a bottle. It could be 350 euros. We still might just buy a bottle. 500, no. But 350, maybe. All right, so you know where I'm going to stop at one day. Who knows with inflation? For me, in 10 years from now, 350 is like 250 today, so maybe. There are people like out there like me, we're going to buy a bottle. Now, if you are just getting into bourbon and you think a $50 price tag for a bottle of bourbon is just outrageous, silly, and absolutely not something you would ever do, don't even think about putting $220 on the table for this, or $250 or even more. The Bourbon Nights, Chad and Sarah were just in St. Louis, Missouri, and they found a bottle of Four Roses limited edition 2023, which is called the 135th anniversary bottling. The liquor store wanted $600 for it, and Chad said, had he been actually spending his own money, he would have bought the bottle. He would have bought the bottle and sent it over back to in a box. It would post it to himself, and or carry on or whatever, a suitcase. That shows. That showed me at least the willingness to pay that secondary price for this bottle. And therefore, I'm not complaining that companies are going for $220 if they're going to pay on the secondary market $500 plus. Crazy world, right? So, my question of the day is twofold. First of all, what is your favorite, threefold? What is your favorite limited edition release every year? What do you look forward to? Is it one of the Bookers 4 times a year? Is it one of the Elijah Craig for you 4 times a year? For us in Europe, once a year we get a bottle. Is it then Four Roses? Is it the King of Kentucky? Or is it maybe a Russell Reserve? Or what else out there is a limited release? We have the Blood Oath. I just got a bottle of that. We have the Yellowstone Distiller's Edition or whatever it's called. There are so many limited editions out there. What are you hunting for? What are you looking for? And last question, what would be a fair price in today's market for this bottle of Four Roses limited edition 2024 release? Think about the secondary market. Think about what people are willing to pay, not what you think you should have to pay. If I were the distillery, what price would I put on this bottle? Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, telling others. Whiskey Jason here. See you real soon. Bye-bye.